Alright, so this past weekend's YCS Charlotte, the first in-person event like this in 2 years, basically. This was my first ever YCS. Which is pretty crazy. I'm so glad I got to go. Me and a couple buddies went. Brad was one of them. And we just had a great time. The city of Charlotte was amazing. What a wonderful city. The place we stayed was great. The food was fantastic there. Some good nightlife there. Charlotte was a really nice city. The convention hall was pretty nice too. But we're going to talk about the actual event itself, the YCS. And before we get into it, there's a couple things you kind of need to sort of almost like disclaimers, and also just kind of things we need to put into context. First of all, like I said, this was the first YCS, the first event like this in basically 2 years. 2 years. So some imperfections, some hiccups were to be expected. Also, we're not getting into our opinions and our feelings about the state of the pandemic and certain rules that go along with that. You know, the rules were the rules. They were what they were. If you didn't like it, you didn't have to go. It's that simple. Okay? So I don't want to get into this big sort of thing, this big debate about the rules like that. But it does kind of go into maybe some complaints I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But so that's still something they had to deal with. It's something everyone else had to deal with. So we kind of need to put that into perspective as well. So let's get into the things I really enjoyed about this past weekend. First of all, like I just said, the city of Charlotte, fantastic, amazing. Just a really lovely place with a lot of stuff to do, a lot of great places to go. Fantastic nightlife, amazing food, really nice people. The hotel we stayed in was very nice. So nothing but great things to say about the city of Charlotte in North Carolina. Fantastic host city for the YCS. I can't wait to go back one day. Another thing I'd like to say in the positive sense is, I think the community as a whole, the Yu-Gi-Oh community as a whole, did a very good job this weekend. You know, there were a couple like scares that some stuff got stolen, but I don't think there was a big theft issue. Everyone I ran into I thought was really cool, really nice. There didn't seem to be that much discourse like that in the, well, community as a whole. Some of the duels we'll get to in a second. But I think the community overall did a very good job being on their best behavior this weekend, whatever that means. Again, maybe they weren't, and I'm just being naive, but it just seemed to me, based on from my point of view, you know, I spent a lot of time in that convention center hall, and it seemed like everyone was doing a really good job. Another thing I thought the side events were really cool. There were some really neat ideas when it came to the side events, whether it be the Battle City event or the Yu-Gi-Oh! Day event, obviously the Winamat and the big card stuff. The Rivalry of Warlords thing was really neat. The structure deck, the charity stuff, really cool side events. The prize support for the side events was insane. Was absolutely insane. There were some uncut card sheets that were like all Starlight rares. It was crazy. These things are worth tens of thousands of dollars. You know, obviously you have like the big cards and things like that. You had all kinds of mats there, which was really cool. I did end up getting enough of those tickets to get one of those YCS mats, which was really cool. The side events I thought were fantastic, and the prize support in those side events was honestly better than the prize support in the main event. We'll get to one part of the side events that I didn't like in a second, but overall, I had a lot of fun in the side events. I thought those were really well put together. They there didn't seem to be a ton of big issues with them. But again, there are some little things I would want to give some critique on in a little bit. So side events, good job, great. Other things I thought that was good about this weekend, the production quality of the live stream. You know, there's been talk over the last couple years about the production of, at least in North America, of these live streams. They really stepped it up this time. They really, really did. And I think the production team did a very good job with this. I think everything looked clean. Everything looked really, really good. You know, obviously I was at the thing, so I didn't watch like the whole event on live stream, but based on what I saw and based on the setup that I saw, the production, they bumped it up a notch, and I thought that was really, really good. Yeah, so those were some of the good things. And again, like I said, just being there for the first time, there was energy in the room. People were really excited. You know, shout out to some of the people who really, really played up the fact that, hey, guys, this is the first YCS in 2 years. And I just got this sense that people, regardless of what the result was, people were just happy to be there. I was one of those people. And yeah, oh, one more thing. You know, a lot of the other the big content creators that were there, I saw, you know, Gage was there, MBT was there, Pack was there, Distant Coder was there, Triff was there, DZ, all these guys were there, and girls. That Crush Cards, which is one of my favorite channels, one of the first channels I started watching when I got back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Was Crush Cards. So it was cool to see Crush Cards there. It was a really, really good representation of the creator sort of community there. That was really cool to see as well. Some of these people I'm trying to model this channel after, that I got to see and just sort of say, hey, I like your content. I'm not the kind of guy that like would want to pull them inside and have like this whole conversation with them. Like Ruxin was there, another person who I've been watching for a while. I'm never that guy who wants to sort of pull them aside and be like, oh, let's have a whole conversation. It's just like, hey, love your content sort of thing. And they all seem really, really cool. Obviously, I'm probably missing some people. I think Sir Eminon was there, which was really neat. So yeah, seeing the content creators there were really, really cool as well. Just their presence there really sort of, again, bumped up the, just sort of the energy of this event. So whether they know it or not, great job, guys and gals who were there, the content creator side. It was cool to see you. I hope to see you again soon. So yeah, those were a lot of the positive things about this past weekend that I really enjoyed, that I think Konami did well. Loved the city. I just had a blast, a ball all weekend. Now, getting into some of the negatives. First things first, it has to be said, and this isn't like the actual event's fault, it's just sort of how it is. The format. The format. I think I played 3 or 4 Friend Kid Adventure Token Destiny decks, which I get it, it's the deck that won the actual event, spoiler alert. It's basically the best deck in the format, but that's not the problem. It's just the format is very stale right now, in my opinion. You know, I almost feel like without the Brave token engine, this format could have been very diverse, but that engine makes it not diverse. So this isn't really the actual event's fault, but just the format was rough. The format was rough. It has to be said. Something has to be done. This format just isn't very fun. It's not a ton of fun to play. It's not a ton of fun to watch. So something needs to change there, in my opinion, and change soon as we move forward. Other things I think could have been done better. Again, huge elephant in the room. The Watergate, I guess we can call it. No, there's already something called Watergate. Water Bottle Gate, I guess. So one of the rules, I don't know if this was a Konami rule or if this was a rule of the Charlotte Convention Center. But while we were in the play area where the tournament was, in that hall, Obviously, masks were required to be worn, which, again, we're not going to get into whether we think that's good or bad. We're not going to get into all that. No. It's just the reality of the situation. You know, it is what it is. Masks needed to be worn. You needed proof of vaccination, which I'm sure caused some issue. But one of the weirdest things I remember was while in the play area, you couldn't drink anything. And when I say or eat, and when I say anything, I mean including water. And there weren't any water fountains in there. You were not allowed to take off your mask for any scenario, including you could not drink water. And that is a problem. That can't be. That can't continue. Again, I don't know if that was the convention center. I don't know if that was Konami. I don't know if it was both. All that matters is that cannot continue. You can't expect people to stay within the vicinity of that hall while they're competing in a main event to stay there and not drink water. You know, a lot of the Top Cut people will tell you that on day 2, during Top Cuts, they weren't even allowed to leave the area where you could go drink water. So they were dying up there. I don't know who thought that was appropriate. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but I'm just saying right now, that can't continue. That is unacceptable. That is dangerous. That is unhealthy. And that can't continue. And I don't know, is there some kind of law for that? I have no idea. I don't know. People have been throwing that around. If it's breaking a law or not, I clearly not. They did it. And it doesn't look like there's any repercussions for it. But regardless of if it's a law or not, that is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And that can't be the norm moving forward. Unacceptable. Doesn't matter if we're wearing a mask or not. You should be allowed to drink water whenever you want. No matter where you are. So, Konami, or whoever enforced that, shame on you. I think, I don't want to say it like this, but again, it doesn't feel very lawful. Maybe it is, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, but whether it is or not, it's unacceptable. Shame on you. Never, ever do that again. It's dangerous, it's unhealthy, and it could have caused someone some serious harm. Don't do it again. It was unacceptable. Alright? No excuse. No, there's no excuse. COVID isn't an excuse. The masks aren't an excuse. Keeping the card safe isn't an excuse. There's no excuse to justify it. Okay? You could see, especially later in those feature matches, during Top Cut, you could see how just fatigued they were because they were being stripped of water. A necessity. Water is a necessity. You cannot take that away. And you better not do it again. Moving on from that. Some other things that need to be improved. There weren't that many vendors there. Now, this isn't a knock on the vendors who were there. I thought the vendors were awesome. Had a lot of cool stuff. Thought they did a great job, but it felt really small. I don't know why. Again, maybe it was just a timing thing. Maybe it was a COVID thing. Who knows? But yeah. And then another thing to improve in the side events. I praise the side events a lot. Okay. But one thing that needs to be changed, little adjusted here, is this ticket system where A, you get more tickets, or B, the cost of doing the side event needs to be brought down. Some of these side events were $14, some were even in the 20s. No, the price of doing the side events needs to be, either that needs to be brought down, or you need to fix how many tickets you get. Okay, too expensive, way too expensive. Another thing, kind of going back to almost the food thing, is they need to fix this. In that convention center, there was sort of just one little food court area where there was like a chicken place, a bagel place, and a Starbucks, and you had 30 minutes to eat lunch, at least on day one. I don't know what day two was like. You had 30 minutes to get lunch. Mind you, you couldn't eat in the room, so it's not like you could have brought anything in there. And also, there were 1,100 players, including vendors, including judges, who also need to eat as well. There was no way there was going to be enough time to do that. No way. You should have planned that better. Alright, these are the little things they need to plan a little better. Alright, stuff like that. You know, oh, registration. The registration process needs to change. So to register, you either could register Friday night and it closed at 6 p.m. or you had to be there at 9 o'clock the next morning. You can't close at 6 on the weekday on the Friday. You had to be open at least another hour. People are still getting off of work. People are still traveling. That's just incredibly unfair on their part. So I think the registration process could improve moving forward. I'm kind of nitpicking at this point, but it's just something I noticed, like, nah, that needs to be a little different moving forward. And then the last thing, there was some controversy, at least in the final duel, of maybe judges missing some plays that shouldn't have happened, unfairly accusing someone of rule sharking, or whatever it may be. Alright, again, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt because this is the first live event like this in 2 years, but hopefully moving forward, that improves. So yeah, so that's everything I kind of have to talk about the most recent YCS. All those criticisms aside, I still have a fantastic time. I really want to go to another one. It's really motivated me to keep improving and keep playing, and so I can keep playing in these events in the future, and hopefully that still is the case. It's unfortunate that World isn't going to happen, but, you know, one step at a time. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the YCS Charlotte. Again, I had a fantastic time, and I hope that next time I get to see more people there. So yeah, those are my thoughts, and I'll see you later.